Hello everybody. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to use Google Classroom, how to integrate it with Google Meet, and a small comparison between Zoom and Google Classroom. So if we have to use Google Classroom, one of the necessities is that we have a Gmail account. So I'll just open my Gmail account. So in case you don't have a Gmail account, there's nothing to worry. It's free to create. All you have to do is type gmail.com. Then you will see this page, click create account and click create account for myself as we are using it for a personal purpose. Here for dummy, for the name, I will choose it as Google Class or a Classroom Teacher, because this is the name that will appear when you use Google Classroom or to your friends when you send a mail. So for the mail ID, I will choose a random mail ID. So I'll choose dummymail2270. And I will choose a simple password that I can remember. It's preferable to choose a alphanumerical password. Click next. Giving your phone number is optional, but it's always best to give a mail ID, because in case you forget the password, your recovery password will happen through this particular mail ID. So you can give your birthday, because sometimes when you forget your password, it will ask these particulars for you to remember. So I'll give just an arbitrary number. I'll just choose it as 1st August 1980. Gender male. Next. Then you have to scroll down in the privacy agreement and click I agree. So just if you follow these simple steps, you will be creating your Gmail ID, which is ready to use. So you can see now my mail ID is opening. So the first time that you open, so you will get a welcome message and it will ask you what is the format of mail you want to see. The default one shows you the person who has sent the mail, the subject, and even the attachments. If you choose comfortable, you will see that it will just give you a hint that the attachments are there, but it will not show the attachments. So the number of mails that you will see in one page will be more in this comfortable view. And if you choose compact, the overall font size and the gap between two mails will reduce, which will further increase the number of mails per page that you are able to visualize. But who gets very few mails, I always like to choose default and I'll click OK. So the first thing you should do when you get your mail ID is you will want some more of these bars. So here you can see already Google will pre-create primary, where most of the mails from people will come. Social, so if you log on to your Facebook or your Instagram account, all the mails from those particular social networking sites comes under social. If you log on to sites like eBay, Amazon, or other sites that send you promotional offers, they'll come under promotions. Next, I will click the settings and I will choose configure my inbox. And here I want to add the other two, that is updates and forums. So what these will do is, these will create two more tabs that will be updates and forums. So in updates, what you will receive is, for example, now I create a new Google Classroom account and all the updates regarding Google Classroom will come into this particular tab called as updates. And in my forums, so if you join any Google groups, so all those messages or all those group messages will come into your Google forums. So these 5 tabs are very useful when you are using your Gmail account. So next, starred messages. If you star any message, it'll appear in this starred messages. For example, so now going to the topic, that is how to use Google Classroom. So one way is first you log into your Gmail ID and then you choose these 9 dots on the right upper hand corner. These are the Google apps. So when you click and if you scroll down, you will usually see your Google Classroom. So you can click it. One more way is directly by typing the URL for Google Classroom, that is classroom.google.com. So when you do this directly, it will ask you to sign in with your Gmail ID. After doing that, you will come to this screen. So since I've already signed in through to my Gmail ID, it is not asking me to sign in again. So through my Gmail ID, I have accessed Classroom. But you can directly go to Classroom by typing in this URL, that is classroom.google.com, and then it will ask you to log into your Gmail ID. So once you are done with it, it will give this option continue. That is if you want to use the same mail ID for your Google Classroom. So if you have never used Google Classroom, this is how your first landing page will appear. So what do you see? You will see this plus, and here Google is already telling you, you have to click this plus if you want to create a class as a teacher, or you're a student and you want to join the class. On the left hand side, there are few settings. So if you click these left hand side 3 bars, it will show you all the classes, either the ones you have created or the ones you have joined. So it's nil, so it's nil for me, as I have done neither. Then the calendar and my settings. So if you click the settings here, you will see that all the boxes are ticked, and I would suggest that we'll leave this at the same. So if you want your students to see your photo, you can update your profile picture here. You can click this change button and you can update your photo. As of now, I will not be doing this. So next, now if you want to go back to your classes, you click these 3 lines and click classes. So now what do we do? So to create a class, you have to click this plus and choose the option create class. So I'll tick this that I have read and I agree to all the privacy and security protections that are provided by Google. Click continue. So now only the name of the class is compulsory. So here we'll name the class as undergraduate, and section I will keep it as general pathology. Subject pathology, and room I would like to label it by the batch that I am taking. So here this is the 2019-20 batch of general pathology. So if you want, you can club all this and only fill it in the first row, that is class name as undergraduate pathology 2019-20, or you can set it at these 4 different places. Only the first line is compulsory, and click create. So once you have created a class, so this is the landing page that you will reach. So inside your classroom, you will see these 4 tabs on top. First is stream. In stream, you will see it like your Facebook or other social networking sites, where the most recent post will be on the top and the older posts will be below. So classwork is a page that I use a lot. So this is the page where you can organize your content. So it can be the topics, the reading materials provided, and the assignments that you assign. So under classwork, there are these 2 options, that is Google Calendar and Class Drive folder. The next tab, that is people, will show the names of the teachers and the students assigned. So as you can see here, even for the teachers there is a plus, meaning that every classroom can have, or every single class that you create can have more than 1 teacher, and it can have multiple students. And finally grades. So this last tab will only be available in the teacher's Google Classroom, where the teacher can grade the assignment of the students. So now I will show you how to start a new class. So I'll choose classwork. So now first thing I want to do is I want to organize the topics in my Google Classroom, so that when the students access it, they can see the content in an organized fashion. So first I would like to create a topic. So I'll click create and I will choose topic. So here the first topic that I choose will be inflammation. So I'll create the name of the topic and create add. So now only the topic has come. There are no materials under it. So to add content under this, I will click create again, and now I will choose the option material. So you can see that here for the material, it gives you a title, the description of the material that you're adding, and you can click add, and you can add material either from your Google Drive, from a link, that is you can directly put your YouTube link or your Google Drive shared drive link or other links such as your SlideShare PPTs, or you can add a file from the desktop, or you can choose directly search of YouTube. So here first I will give the topic. So I'll give the topic as vascular changes in inflammation. I already have a video of this on my YouTube channel. So I will first, so I've entered the name. So now I'll click add and I will choose the option as YouTube. So once I choose the option as YouTube, there are two options. If you know the URL link of your video, you can directly click URL and enter the URL link. If you don't know, you can directly search in YouTube. So I'll search for my topic, inflammation, and I'll give the handle as Pathotechy. So this has found this particular topic from my channel, inflammation vascular events. I have to just click it and click add. So you can see it has already been added now. And now I have to choose this on the right hand top corner called post. So only when you click this will it be posted in the Google Classroom. So now I want to arrange it below my topic. So I'll drag it down and I'll put it below this topic, inflammation. So now you want to create one more topic. So the other topic I want to create, I'll use as neoplasia. And now I want to add some content into it. So I'll choose material, create and material. So now here I want to add a PDF or a Word document that is on my desktop. So I'll give the topic as benign versus malignant. And I'll click add. I will choose this option, file. So this is there on my desktop in a folder called as Google Classroom. So I'll just open that folder. So this is the Word document that I want to add. So I'll click this basics of neoplasia notes. And now you can see I get this option upload. So uploaded it. And next I'll click post. So now I'll again rearrange this under the particular topic. So you just have to hold the topic and drag it where you want it to be placed. So next I'll show you how to add content from your Google Drive. So first I'll go to my mail ID that I created. So to access Google Drive, click this 9 dots, choose Google Drive. So this is my Google Drive. So as you know, for every Gmail ID that you create, you will get 15 GB of free cloud storage as Google Drive. So here you can see that already there is a folder Google Classroom or Classroom being created. I have not created this. The moment you start using Google Classroom, in your Google Drive, a folder called Google Classroom will be there. And if you open that, all the content that is there in your Google Classroom will automatically be. So it is already telling that I have created a Google Classroom class called as undergraduate general pathology. And if I open that, it is already showing that I have uploaded one content. So this was the Word document that I uploaded from my desktop. So now what I'll show you is how to just add content from your Google Drive. I will just click the add. So I will click new and then I'll click file upload. So I'll upload this PPT called tuberculosis. I'll click open. So on the right hand bottom you will see this progress bar. So we can see here the PPT upload has been complete. So now I will go to my Google Classroom and I will click create and material, and now the topic is tuberculosis, and I will choose add, and now I will choose it as Google Drive. So this will automatically access the Google Drive of the account that is linked to the Google Classroom. So you can see all the content on my Google Drive is visible through this on this tab. So here the most recent one is appearing. So otherwise, if you want to see the Google Drive complete view like how you see it on your Gmail, you have to click this My Drive. So here you can see I have a folder called as Classroom, and under that files, that is tuberculosis and getting started. So the simplest one is if you have recently added a PPT, choose this recent option. Most recent file will appear as the first file here. So I'll just click this tuberculosis and I'll click add and I'll click post now. So this is one way to add reading material from your Google Drive. One more way is you go to your Google Drive. So this is the PowerPoint that I want to add. So here you click the file and you click this link option. So you have to click the file that you want and it gets highlighted. So you can see this blue color, and then you click this get shareable link. It automatically will turn on the link sharing, and this is the link for that particular file. So if you just double click it, the entire thing will get selected. You press copy, and now I'll go to my Google Classroom. I'll choose create material, same thing, tuberculosis, but now I'm using it using a Google Drive link. So I'll click add link, and now if I paste the link that I copied and click add link, so even by this method my PPT is automatically being shared to the Google Classroom. So there are two ways of adding. One is either you can use Google Drive and choose the file, or you can get the shareable link from Google Drive and then you can add the content. So now for this tuberculosis I want to create a chapter called as infections. So I can create the chapter called as, or topic called as, infections. So under this I'll want the tuberculosis. So both things I'll drag it and I'll put it under infections. Anything you want to delete, you have to click these three dots that appear on the right hand side. So if I want to delete the topic, click these three dots and I can rename, edit or delete or share the topic with someone else by copying the link. So if I want to delete this tuberculosis PPT, since I already have put it through the link, I can delete this. Delete. So now you know how to use the different add options in Google Classroom. One is through Google Drive, one link. So it can be a URL of YouTube, or it can be a shareable link from Google Drive, file from your computer, or directly from YouTube by searching it by using this particular option. So next thing that we usually use Google Classroom for is to create assignments. So assignments can be in the form of short essays, long essays, or most commonly what we use is multiple choice questions. So to add that, so I'll click create and create quiz assignment. So once I go to this quiz assignment, so it gives me the title. So the title of my quiz is Basics of Neoplasia. So instructions. So if you want to say this, tell the students that it is compulsory or these marks will be considered. So any instructions that you want to give the students, you can put it in these instructions. Then is it for all the students or only for particular students? Since I have not added all the students, you cannot see this. Otherwise, when you click this drop down, here you will get the list of all your students, and you can only tick the ones that you want to give it to or leave it at all students. Points. So I only want it for 10 points, so I can change it to 10. Due date, I'll click it, click the due date. I'll set it as 16th. So this will show the students that the due date for giving this is on 16th. Topic, so under what topic you want this quiz to appear. So here I will choose the topic neoplasia. And then here, since it's a quiz, I don't want it to use the rubric. I want it to be assessed by the MCQ itself. So here I will now click the quiz. And here you can add your topic. So here you can change the name of your quiz form. Basics of Neoplasia. I can copy the same title as the name of the quiz form. I'll just add one question. However, if you want to see how to use Google Forms, I've already done a video on basics of Google Forms. So here, identify if the lesion is benign or malignant. Lesion is benign or malignant. So here I'll take an image. So I'll just pick an image from the web. So I will just search it on Google Image Search, and I will choose squamous cell carcinoma. So I'll just pick a histology of squamous cell carcinoma. So I'll pick this one with keratin pearls and I'll click insert, and I'll give two options, benign, malignant. Okay. And in Google Forms, as you all know, when you're working on the Google Drive, let it be Google Forms, Google Sheets, or any of the apps on Google, you don't have any save button, because for every second it's automatically getting saved. So if I just close it also, automatically it has been saved into this particular Google Forms. Okay. So next what I have to do is I have to click this assign. So the moment I click assign, this assignment has been created, and you can see it's already been added to this topic, neoplasia. Next I'll show you one more type of assignment where the student has to either write an essay or he can add documents of a particular case sheets. So here I can write the difference between benign and malignant tumor. And now the student can create a Google Docs and add to it, or he can use the Google Doc that I have allotted. So now I'll click create and I'll choose this Google Doc. So Google Doc is like Microsoft Word, but it's a completely online, and like Google Forms, as I already told, you don't have to save it. Automatically it keeps getting saved, but the only difference between Microsoft Word and Google Docs is, for Google Docs to work you will always need internet. So here also I'll label it as assignment. So if you want the students to be able to enter into this particular Google Docs, you have to click this option share on the right upper hand corner, and click this edit option and make it as and then choose this advanced option and change the access as anyone with the link can access and edit. So can edit. Okay, to keep it safe we can keep it at anyone with the link can edit, and click save and click done. So now anyone who has a link to this particular Google Docs can access and edit it. So now we know as a teacher how to create the content. So here I'll assign this Google Doc. How to create the content, how to add it from your desktop, and how to add assignments in the form of quiz or assignments in the form of short essays. So here you can see, since I had not allotted the topic, it has just gone and sat outside the topic. So if you want to edit, click these three dots, click edit. So here it is for all students. It is also for 10 marks. Due date, I will set it as 17th, one more day than the quiz. Topic, even this has to go to the topic neoplasia. And here I want to use a rubric. So you can create a rubric. So you can have different criteria. So you can call the criteria name as rubric, and here, so if student gets one mark or 1 point, that is 25% of the points, then it is not satisfactory. 2 points or 2 points is average. That's 50% of the marks, because I'm giving a rubric out of 4. So 3 or 75% of the marks is good, and 4 is excellent. So for this particular exercise, when you grade, it will ask you to use this particular rubric. So update. So anything, if by mistake you have assigned it to the wrong section also, all you have to do is click these 3 dots next to that particular topic and you can edit it and you can make the necessary changes. So you can see in inflammation topic there is reading material, in neoplasia there is reading material and 2 types of assignment, one a quiz and one a plain assignment. Topic infection, there is a PowerPoint lecture which is shared from my Google Drive. So now let us see how to share this to the students. So here if you go to the first option, that is stream, now it will show all the content that I have posted but in the order of me posting it. So it does not put it under particular headings but it arranges it as per the time that I have posted. So this is the view that you usually get in a social networking site, but the view that I like is this view called as classwork. But for the students, sometimes they may want to know which is the most recent assignment posted or which is the oldest assignment. So stream may be useful from a student perspective. So already here it is showing in upcoming that the assignment for in basics of neoplasia, the quiz is due by Thursday and the another assignment is due on Friday. Same thing can be seen if you click these 3 dots and you click to do. It will show the same thing. It will show when your 2 assignments are due. So now again I will go to classes. I'll choose my topic. So here this is the class code. So if you want to share your class code to a live audience or in your theory class, the best thing you can do is you can click this 4 brackets and automatically it enlarges so that everyone can see. If you want to share it, you can just copy this class code. You can copy this class code. So I'll copy the class code and I'll keep it. So now let us see how to access it as a student. So here I have logged in into an account that I've created for a Google Classroom student. So the same way I'll click the Google Apps, scroll down and click Google Classroom. And once I'm in the Google Classroom, I'll click this plus and I'll click join class and I'll paste the copy code, class code that I copied and I'll click join. So now you can see that the student has joined the classroom. So the student's view has very similar stream, classwork and people, only the grading tab will not be there. So now the student can see the posts as per the most recent post on top and the old posts below. If he clicks the classwork, he can see the content that you have assigned. So he can see that there are reading material and there are assignments and the assignments are due on 16th and 17th. And in people, if he clicks, he can see the teacher. So now I will just, so if the student goes to this to do, the student can also see upcoming assignments. So now we will go back to our class. Now we will go back to our class and now we will complete the assignment. So as a student, now first thing what I will do is, if I want to see the content, so if I want to see any lecture, you just click it. It gives me this view material. So if I click it, you can see that in the same browser, it is opening the YouTube link. So anytime you want to stop, you click anywhere, it will stop. Next, how to give the assignment. I'll click the first assignment, that is basics of neoplasia, which was a Google form. So there was only one question. So I don't know what the answer is, let us assume. So I have clicked benign and I've clicked submit. So as a student, it is not enough if you just submit your Google Forms, but after you have completed the Google Forms, you're supposed to click mark as done. So only when you click this mark as done will the teacher get the notification that you have completed the assignment. Though you might have finished the Google Forms, this completed assignment notification will come for on Google Classroom to the teacher only when you submit the work or click this mark as done. So next I will go to the next assignment. So the next classwork was write the differences between this thing. So you click the assignment, click this view assignment. So the student has any doubts, he can ask the teacher either privately by typing on the right hand side. You will see this private comments, or he can type it in this class comments. So difference is when he types private comments, the other students will not be able to see and only the teacher will get this comment and the teacher can reply back through this private channel. But if he types it in this class comments, so some general question you can type in class comments so that everyone will be benefited by the answer. So now how to do this assignment? You click the Google Doc. So once it opens, you can start typing. So I can write the differences between benign and malignant are so and so. So once I'm done with my answer, I can just close it. I don't have to save it or share it, nothing. Once you are done, you just close it and click leave. And after you are done, you click mark as done. So now the teacher will get the notification that student has completed a particular assignment. So now if the student also clicks these three dots and goes to the to-do list, it will show that there's nothing pending to do, and in done it will show that he has turned in his assignments and now it is pending for grading. So now comes to the teacher's work. The teacher now has to grade these two assignments. So now when I go to the teacher's Google Classroom, previously when I click people, there were no students who were allotted, so it was only showing the teacher's name. But now you can see that one student has joined. If you want to add more teachers, all you have to do is click this plus button, and here you can type the mail address of the teachers and you click invite and it will add those particular. And if you want to add students, you can click this plus button, and if you have their mail IDs, you can copy paste all the mail IDs. So if you have 100 mail IDs, you can copy paste the 100 mail IDs and click invite. So next, now we will go to the grading. So this marks or grading, this will only be available in the teacher's access. So you can see that there are two assignments which have to be graded for one student. So if you have 100 students, you will see on the left hand side all the students' names and this particular box where you can enter their marks. So how to see their assignments? So we can go to the student and see his individual assignments by clicking the student. And you can see that he has handed the assignments. So I'll click the first assignment, basics of neoplasia, and I'll view the details. And I'll click view details. So now on the top you can see this instructions. So if I click the instructions, it shows me the Google Forms. So I just have to click this Google Forms. So if you want to grade the assignments, so I will just go to this marks and I will choose the student. So it shows me the different assignments that he has sent in. So for this Google Forms, automatically the marks will be in the form of Google Forms. So what I can do is I can see the marks from the Google Forms and then return with the grade. And then you have to click this option return. So how a student has to click mark as done so that the teacher can see the assignment. After you give the marks, you have to click this return option if the student has to be able to see the marks. So then I'll click this return. Next I'll go to his second assignment. So I'll go to marks. And now I'll go to this assignment, that is write the differences between. So here. So then I will click the assignment. And once I click, this page will appear where student work and instructions are seen. I'll click instructions, then click the document. So this will open the Google Docs. So here I can see that the student has written this answer. So I've decided that I'll give him 7 out of 10. So I just have to close this and enter the grade as 7. And now in the rubric, I can choose which, if he falls into 25, 50 or 75, I choose 3. So he falls into the third rubric, that is 75%. And I'll click return this to the student, and I'll even type in some comments. So well done for this particular exercise. So done. So now when I go to my to-do list, you can see that everything that has been assigned has already been completed, and in reviewed, there is no reviewed work that is pending for me. So now if I choose the student's login, you can see in to do, I'll first just choose the class. So in the class, you can see the 3 tabs: stream, classwork, and people. And then in the people, you can see the teacher, and under classwork you can see the different assignments. So if I just go to do, it will show that there's nothing pending to do, and under done, both my assignments are completed and graded. So you can see for the quiz, I've got 0, and I've got 7.5 out of 10 for the writing assignment. So this is the window that appears for the student. So this is my Google Classroom using a Gmail ID with a G Suite account. So here the only difference being, so here when you go to my settings and you scroll down, you can see that this Google Meet is already enabled inside my Google Classroom. So if I want to schedule a new meeting and I want to share the meeting code with my students, it is as simple as you clicking, you can reset your code and click make it visible to the students. So once you do this and click save, so it is as easy as just clicking this link, and the students will be redirected to your Google Hangout. So you can even share it by copying this. You can go to your settings, then copy the code, and then you can paste it in your notification. So you can click on your stream, share something with the class, and you can share this link and you can post it. So you can even add in the timings and the date of the meet. So this is how you integrate your Google Meet into your Google Classroom. So now this Google Meet ID is only available inside your Google Classroom, and all your students can click this link and join the Google Meet. So if you're not using Google Meet inside the classroom, how do you schedule it? I'll just show you. So if this is your ID with your G Suite subscription, all you have to do is you can go to your Google Apps and you will see Google Meet. Click it. It will redirect you to meet.google.com. You can even type this. It is meet.google.com. So you will see that if your account is enabled by G Suite, you will get this option as join or start a meeting, whereas I'll show you in one more ID. If you're using a personal account and you don't have a G Suite subscription, you will not get this option of joining or creating a meeting. You can just join a meeting. So you can't create any meetings. It writes you clearly that it only allows you to join meetings. So when you have a G Suite subscription, you get this option of join or start a meeting. So you can just start it by clicking the plus sign, and it asks you for your nickname. So you can write your name and you click continue. And it will immediately join with your audio and video. So if you blocked your camera will not be allowed. So but if I enable the camera, and the mic, then you will see that immediately your webcam and your mic is enabled. So all you have to do is click join now, and once you click join now, you're already in the meeting and this is your meeting. So all you can do is you can just copy this link to send it to someone, or you can click the copy joining info. So if you click this, automatically the content is copied. Now you can go to your mail and you can paste it and you can send it to your invitees and they'll be getting this particular meeting link. So one more way of scheduling a Google Meet is by going to your calendar and click create. So here you will see that first we'll give a title. So we'll name it as pathology class. And here there's an option of add conferencing, and automatically if you have a G Suite account you will see Google Hangout Meet there and you can click save. So now you can double click on that particular meeting and you can see this is the Hangout ID for that meeting. So you can share this using WhatsApp or mail ID also. All you have to do is copy it and you can share it. So now this is my Google account without a G Suite account. So if you can see that here when I click create, there is an add conferencing, but on clicking it, I don't get a Google Hangout Meet, but I just get a plain Google Hangouts. So this Google Hangouts has a much lower participant limit of around 50 participants only. So this Hangout Meet is available only for G Suite users. So here you will see that in my G Suite account, you will get Google Hangout Meet. So when we are using a personal account to create a Google Classroom, these are the limitations. So you can add as much. So you can add maximum of 20 class teachers per class and maximum of 250 students per class. However, if your college has a G Suite account, the number of participants per class is raised to 1000. And a student can join a maximum of 100 classes and 30 per day. So I feel that rarely anyone will ever touch these limits, as most of us have a class strength of around 150 to 250. So we will definitely fit with the class member strength. And usually a department rarely will have more than 10 staff, and usually in one class only maybe 1 to 5 teachers are usually included. And as there are not that many Google Classroom classes currently happening in India, so the cap of 30 per day and 100 per day also looks okay, and we rarely will create more than 30 classes in a single day. So all these don't seem to be limitations, and even a personal Google account looks to be good enough to start your own Google. I'll be now comparing Google Hangout Meet and Zoom Meeting, and this is based on my experience. I have used Google Hangout Meet only for 2 times, whereas Zoom meetings I have used for almost 15 to 20 times. So coming to Google Hangout Meet, so I feel you have to choose it if you're already a G Suite subscriber, as then your participant limit is increased to 250 from 50 users, which would be for the normal personal account user. And it's perfect if you're already using Google Classroom as your learning management system, as it integrates with it. Its free version, that is when you have G Suite, has unlimited time. There are other advantages such as it works completely on a browser and no app is required, especially if you're using a desktop PC or a Mac. However, if you're using a mobile device, you will need to download the Google Meet app. The users reported better connectivity and lower drop rates while using Google Hangout Meet. There were very few cons. The cons mainly are it does not have some of the options that are seen in its competitor, that is Zoom. It doesn't have good presenter options such as recording automatically by host, that is you don't need consent from all the participants, end meeting for all, mute all or unmute all options, and control share screen, that is the host can control who shares the screen. And hence as Google Hangout Meet does not have these options, it is very important that the audience is very disciplined when you're using it, because the audience can unmute themselves or suddenly start sharing their screens. Coming to Zoom meeting, so as I already told, so whatever were the cons of Google Hangout Meet are mainly the pros of Zoom meeting. Along with that, it has a great interface and it is very easy to use. So even if you're a first time user, you will find it very easy to schedule a new meeting and you can control the conversation. The main cons are that currently there is a security concern and most users are worried while using it because of the fact that it is in the news regarding its security problems. The free version only has 100 participants and a 40 minutes limit, and hence if you are catering a group of more than 100 participants, it makes it difficult as you'll have to split them into two halves and do everything two times. Connectivity and call drop rates are slightly higher than Google Hangout Meet in our experience. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe and click like if you like the video.